What up guys and good morning. So today we're going to switch things up by looking at a pomade from Malaysia. And today what I'm talking about is the Splendour Pomade Butter Grease. This is a water-based pomade, not like a gel pomade, but a water-based one. And essentially I decided to kind of just, change things up for a weekend. Typically we always look at home brewers and other larger products manufactured from a cosmetic lab based in the US. Every once in a while we look at like Great Britain, Australia maybe, and even fewer times we go to Southeast Asia. We looked at Indonesian oil-based pomades before, and now we're going to go ahead and kind of see what Malaysia has to offer through the example of this product. And we'll go ahead and start by looking at the jar. It comes in a 100-gram jar, which translates to approximately 3.5 ounces. This is the Splendour Pomade Butter Grease, amber glass jar, ingredients on the left side, and then some kind of just social media information on the right side. Opening it up, you see the product inside, and it has like a nice off-white, creamish type of color. It's actually pretty reminiscent of like the other water-based products we've seen here in like the US. And of course we can basically assume that it's been inspired by the products you've seen here, given just the trends that we see. And we'll go ahead and start using it. So, in regards to the scent, I'll be pretty straightforward. I don't like it. It's mostly because it's like a butterscotch, like caramel, like type of scent. And I don't actually like butterscotch at all, or caramel in like the candy version, and also I also don't like the smell of it. But it's not to say it's not like accurate, and there's definitely people out there who would really like the smell. It's like a sweet, buttery, I guess you can say like buttery, greasy, fatty. Like it has this like depth to it, which is like this depth, which is characteristic of what I consider characteristic of like butterscotch and caramel. And that's the smell. Personally, I don't like it, but it is pretty damn accurate and kind of really like reminded me right away of those type of candies. But anyways, scooping it out is actually like super easy. It's unbelievably easy. But you'll notice when you start breaking it down, the wax comes out right away. And I would also guess there's also petroleum in this product, which also gives it this type of like really like grippy feel. And you'll notice that scooping it out and applying it are very different. Applying it to the hair, it's a little more like difficult than like you would expect given the consistency scooping it out, but that's just really like the wax coming out. And just we'll probably go with like a light amount of product today, just go with like 2 light scoops, and I would assume that's all I really need with this product, because like you can already kind of tell it's very different in regards to like other water-based products we've seen here. Like this is definitely going to be like on the stronger, firm side of in regards to like hold, but the weight is also significantly heavier than what we're accustomed to. I mean, given there's definitely like a lot of like climate like differences between here and here and like Malaysia, and so products are going to accommodate different like climates and require different things. But you'll notice like it is definitely like heavier, denser than what we're used to. But anyways, go ahead and start combing everything back, making sure that like the product's evenly distributed, and then we'll go ahead and move on from there. Combing it back, like you'll definitely feel like a little bit of like grip, or you'll feel like this unique like dryness to it. But I mean, no issues, no qualms with really combing through. It's really easy. So go ahead and start styling now. So go ahead, call that done. And I mean, it was a good judgment call to go really light in the amount of product. It's just something that you really learn after using hundreds of different like pomades. Like with like a really like one that's really heavy in regards to its weight, if I put too much product, it really kills like my hair. Like I just don't want to deal with that. I don't have time for that bullshit. And so I went with like a light type of like application, which really allows the strength to come out without kind of much of the weight, because I don't allow a lot of the product to weigh it down. And so what you get is like a pretty like strong like product that can provide like a lot of volume. And right now this is like not what we typically expect out of like a water-based pomade. It's definitely on the dry side. And for, I mean, in many good ways. That's the thing though. For me personally, I would prefer it like this. At the same time, we'll talk about it later, but this also really also hints at like how it washes out, how much, like how water-based is it really. And so, because what we really experience here is something that is very strong in like the wax aspect, and basically like the consistency out of the jar. It's like very smooth, very big, buttery. I wouldn't say creamy, but like a thick, kind of like a thick, dry butter. Now application, it's definitely grippy. You definitely feel the wax. It becomes very dry. There's not a lot of like. There's like definitely you can feel like somewhat of like the petroleum like kind of coming out, even though there's not a lot of it, but it doesn't really feel oily at all. You don't get that kind of like smoothness, and that really also affects like the shine, which is definitely like a straight neutral, and actually I prefer that. And the slickness, which is not very slick at all. Like it'll capture like a good amount of your hairs, but there will be like a few strays. And so that also then goes on to the strength, which is its strength, and also the control. The strength to hold is actually very impressive. It's definitely a lot of wax in this product. And because as long as, I mean, assuming your hair is similar to mine, if you apply only a little bit of product, then you won't have to kind of deal with like, the heaviness and the weight of the product, but you can really take advantage of the hold. And then the control, because of kind of like the aspects that I talked about, it's really reminiscent of like an oil-based product. Now we'll talk about how that affects it later, as I hinted before, but yes, it's really intuitive to use because it reminds us a lot of an oil base. But yeah, so go throughout the whole day now, and then we'll come back and talk about how it performs like after a few hours. So peace. Alright, so basically I'm going to go ahead and cut this review on the shorter side of things. It's been about 4 hours or so. About to go on a hike, and we're expecting a storm later tonight, and basically no pomade's going to survive. I actually have some other gear I need to put on, and so I can't extend this review. And so actually with the 4 hours, we would expect it to perform kind of, or be able to survive better than expected, just because it's a shorter duration. Usually we allow it to stand for about 6, 8, at longest like 12 hours. And what we see is like a product that is much more like resembling like an oil base. Like with oil based products, my hair starts to get kind of wavy. Any sort of splits I have in the morning really stay throughout the whole day, and you can't really fix it. If you guys notice in the photos, I had the same split here that I kind of like didn't see, and now it's like impossible for me to restyle it out. Also, you notice a lot more like my hair is super straight, and now it's kind of like waving towards the back. And that has like, I mean, usually the waving doesn't really affect me at all. The splitting and like kind of like the resilience of the splits, and kind of like how the product affects how much their permanence, that is something I do like kind of pay attention to, that it can work against me. But for me, the waves actually don't really matter. But overall, the endurance is like, it's actually okay, because I mean, this time around I used a lot less product than I usually do in any case. With more product, it'll help a little, but the endurance is not, or resilience is not great by any means. It is definitely like adequate though. I would say more realistically, if you apply a good amount of product, a normal amount, I would apply it would say about 6 hours, which is about average. There are definitely products out there that would do 8 to 10 hours, not many that do 12, and at the same time, a lighter oil base will do more around like 4 hours or so, and so this kind of puts it in the average range. Restyling is not that easy with this product. It's definitely possible. Like you definitely maintain about like, right now I probably have like 60% of the same volume and hold I had in the morning, but there then is like the issue of like kind of like any splits that were formed in the morning and left there have become really resilient, which has made it very difficult to restyle my current Pomp, just because I kind of didn't see that split up until it was too late. Also, the greasiness, it's actually ended up, like, it stopped being a dry product. I mean, that's the interesting thing. I mean, and similar to Crystal Lake, like, that product goes in dry throughout the day, it gets like more and more greasy, and that's how this product ended up being as well. I feel like I also see a slight more like shine than it was before. It's not slicker by any means, but it has like kind of softened up and gotten greasier. It's not greasy, but it's greasier at least. And now washing it out, I expected it to wash out with just water, but it actually is pretty difficult to do that. You definitely should use like shampoo to get it out. It's not as water soluble as we would expect. You can, but it would take a lot of time. It's just not worth it. Just use shampoo, and it should get out in one go though. So that is distinct from an oil base. And so this is surprisingly good, like for a water-based pomade that we've like seen. I mean, we haven't seen many like water-based like pomades from the international market at all. And I mean, now that we like seen many of them here in the U.S., you should definitely expect to see many of them rise up like all around the rest of the world. And the cool part is that you always expect to see different kind of takes, different perspectives on the formula. And so this was a very interesting take by like a Malaysian like company, where basically we have what we perceive to be a water base here, but kind of the differences between kind of if we were to just average out what we see in the US like water-based pomades in comparison to this product definitely is like a lot more like stronger in its hold. The application was a little more difficult to that benefit of the hold. At the same time, the consistency was surprisingly good. But then like downsides, this one is a lot more similar to an oil base. Not in like the styling, I mean in the styling characteristic, but what I'm talking about here, it's similar to an oil base in that like it caused my hair to kind of get wavy. Anything that kind of like you had in the morning really keeps throughout the day in terms of like shapes, and just the fact that like it kind of like really softens up like throughout the day and gets a little like greasier. So different things, different people who make it, still very interesting, different perspectives, different formulas. But yeah, so I hope you guys got something out of this review. This has been a review for the Splendour Pomade, butter grease, and other than that, take care, have a good rest of your weekend.